Hey, Greg here for Party File. Got Scott behind the phone, camera. We're doing videos again. Yay, exciting! We're going to do a series covering some of the battle engines, and today I'm going to cover the Grimkin battle engine, and it's called the Death Knell. Here it is right here. It's a pretty little cart. It's got some dude on it and a little horse dragging along. It's not cavalry, sadly. It is almost exclusively a support battle engine. It does have some melee potential, but it's really poor. So it's best used as a support element. It provides an armor buff for models close to it, and it also provides a means by which you can give models that require it corpse tokens. I'll go through that in a minute. I'm going to go through its basic stats. It is speed 6, it is def 12, armor 18, and it has a command of 8. And its command is very important for later. Oh, sorry, it is cavalry. I lied. It's got a little horsey thing. So you can charge things and get some mount attacks and boosted attack rolls. It is a construct. It has Pathfinder. It has a melee weapon called the Death Knell. I'm assuming it's a little bell thing on it. It has Finisher on it, so it's a weapon master versus damaged models. It is melee range 2, and it has PNS 10, and it's magical. The mount is POW 10, and it is also magical. It's electrical magical weapons. It has 22 boxes. It is 13 points, and it's FA 2. I haven't made any lists yet that require 2, but having 1 in a lot of lists is definitely a good thing, especially if you're playing Menagerie. If I'm saying that correctly. So I'm going to go quickly over its special rules. It has Bring Out Your Dead, and this is one of the ways that it can get corpse tokens. When an enemy living or undead model is destroyed while in this model's command range, this model gains the destroyed model's corpse token. When a friendly living faction model is destroyed by a continuous effect, an enemy attack, or collateral damage from an enemy attack, this model gains the destroyed model's corpse token. This model can have up to 5 corpse tokens at any time. So like I said, that command range of 8 is very important if you want to start collecting corpse tokens. You can have some models in your army that are going to give you corpse tokens, like even if you're playing Menagerie, and that theme gives you a corpse token for all models that have a corpse collection. You're still going to probably have some Krabbits in there, and if the Krabbits take a couple of hits with some guns, they can jump in the Death Knell, and he can hand out his corpse or something like that. It also has Death Feast, which means it can spend corpse tokens to heal D3 damage during its activation. It has Entropic Force, and this is a really cool ability. It's 5 inches, within 5 inches of the Death Knell, models lose tough, enemy models lose tough, that's important, and cannot have damage removed from them. It has Finisher, as I mentioned, on all of its melee attacks, so even the horse. And it has Special Delivery. This is the way that it can kind of hand out corpse tokens to models in your army that require it, or that you want to have it. Once per turn, at any time during its activation, this model can remove any number of corpse tokens and place them on a friendly faction model that can gain corpse tokens within 5 inches of it. So there's a number of important points there. First off, it's at any time, so you can use that ability even if you run, but you have to do it prior to running because your activation ends immediately after you run. It's within its command, or no, sorry, it's not within its command area, it's within 5 inches, so it's different than its collection range, and it can only give it to a single model. It can't just sort of like spray them out at a bunch of models. So you have to pick one model and give it as many corpse tokens as you like. It has a special ability called Worth of the Grave, and this is kind of like the Creelstone's ability. So it gives friendly faction models +2 armor while they are within 4 inches, +1 for each corpse token on the model. So that means minimum it's going to be 5 inches, and maximum it's going to be 9 inches. So it's a pretty good size for an aura on a huge base model. And +2 armor is great. It's also an armor buff that cannot be negated. The only way it can be removed is by destroying the Death Knell, because I don't know of any models in the game that have an ability to remove corpse tokens. And blessed weapons don't get around or anything like that because it's not a spell or ability. So we're going to go down, and I'm going to show you a few things with the Death Knell. Let's go down.
Greg's going down.
Going down. I can put on a lighter now.
Edit.
Bam. Okay, we all set?
Do you want to move them forward, or do you want them on a deployment line?
I was just going to show from the deployment, and then I'll shuffle them a bit to kind of show how you can attack enemies and stuff like that. So first thing I'm going to show you is that it's currently, Grim can have 2 themes. One of them is Menagerie, and that allows you to start with a corpse token on, say, the Corpse Cart and Cage Rager and Skin and Bones, because they all have corpse collection. But Bump in the Night does not have that ability. You can still take Death Knells, but there is a way for you to get corpse tokens onto the Death Knell early if you want it for, say, like ranged attacks, and if your opponent does not have corpses for you to collect, like you're playing Convergence or something like that. So there's a number of requirements that you're going to need, a number of tools that you're going to need to do that. The first is you're going to need an infantry unit to provide corpses. The pumpkin heads, what are they called?
Dread rots?
Dread rots. That's it.
I didn't even play the faction.
I know the pumpkin heads. They're a good source for it because their armor is decently high, so they can not die to the blast damage of the weapons that we're going to be using, and they're relatively inexpensive. There is one problem: they are tough, so that can get in the way of you collecting corpse tokens. But the idea is you have a unit of madcaps, and they're an infantry unit, and the two dudes in the madcap unit have Molotov cocktails that are range 6 and are AoE 3, they're POW 12 with continuous fire. The continuous fire is an important thing because that is one of the triggers that allows you to get corpse tokens to your corpse card. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to activate the dread rots and you're going to run them. They run 12 inches. I'm just going to run them up here and group them all up so that they can all get nicely hit by the blast damage. So there we go. We run them up there so they're all going to be within the little 3-inch AoE. And then we're going to activate the madcaps. We're going to get them out of the blast. We can aim with these two guys, and this guy's going to drop a bomb on this fella, and he's going to hit all the models. He's going to take a POW 12, most likely die. He might tough, but let's say he dies. And all the rest of the guys are going to be set on fire. So there's potential 5 corpse tokens there. The blast damage is POW 6, their armor 14, so you actually have to roll 9s to kill them. If that happens, well, it's too bad, but this is part of the problem with trying to collect corpse tokens off your own guys. So pretend they all live from the blast damage, they're all on fire. Even if they take the blast damage roll, you still get a tough, so they might just fall down and you might get their corpse token in the maintenance phase. Now you don't want the entire unit to be destroyed, so I've included a character unit called the Twilight Sisters, and they can advance 6, and they have a special ability where they can bring back models in the unit. And they can both do it, so you can bring back 2. So say one died from the blast damage, then you could return 2 guys so that you have a reconstituted unit and you can rebuild it for late game, or you can build it for providing more corpse tokens. So when I activate the Death Knell, I want to make sure that the guys who are going to burn to death are going to be within 8 inches of it. So I'm just going to run it up here, make sure that all the flaming dudes are within 8 inches, and then when it gets to my maintenance phase, I have to roll to see if they go out, so that's one thing that can go wrong. And if it doesn't go out, then they take a POW 12 on their armor 14. So anything but double ones will force a tough check. Then they get a tough check. Sometimes they pass. Maybe if you're lucky, you get a couple, but that's all you're kind of looking for, right? To kind of bump up your stuff. So if they die within 8 inches, he gets 2 corpse tokens. So that's one way that you can get corpse tokens. You can also use a Frightmare. The problem with the Frightmare is that its blast damage is POW 7, so you're only requiring 8s to kill on the blast damage. It's a little less likely to succeed, I suppose, but there's still a tough check involved, and if the continuous corrosion doesn't go out, it'll do an auto-point damage, so you don't have to worry about rolling double ones on that. So that's the one way you can get corpse tokens when you don't start with them. The other way you can get corpse tokens is kill your opponents and stuff like that. So say when before I activate the Death Knell, there's a number of Fen Blades in there, and we got a Cage Rager over here, and I want to use this Death Knell so that
That's a Cage Rager?
Oh, sorry, that's a Rattler. This is a Rattler. This is a Cage Rager. I know things. So say I want to use the corpse tokens that I'm going to get off the Death Knell to power up the Skin and Bones so that he can attack the Mountain King at a good power strength. So instead of activating it first, I'm going to just satisfy myself with having none of the troll infantry within my entropic aura. So I'm going to activate the Rattler. He's going to charge in. He's going to try to kill some dudes. He has overtake and stuff like that. So say he kills this dude. This thing gets a corpse token. Say he's within 2 inches. He goes over here. He kills this dude. I don't know if he's within corpse collection range. Nope, he's not. So I want to try to get him over to there. He goes on his little killing spree rampage. Kills all these guys. Gets to the last guy that I can get a corpse token off of. Kills him. He's actually the UA. He got really lucky, that Rattler. So that at the end of the Rattler's activation, I've collected 2 corpse tokens off of the dead Fen Blades. Now I'm going to activate the Death Knell. I know rules and stuff. And at the beginning of his activation, he's going to transfer 3 corpse tokens to the Skin and Bones, who is within 5 inches. That's the special delivery. And then I can either charge or run with them. And with this, I'm going to kind of show you how to use Entropic Aura. And in this particular situation, we're going to pretend that Doomy 3 has feeded. So,
and this has legit happened to me.
Yes, it's very sad. So the Mountain King, every time you damage him, he heals D3+3 with Doomy 3's feat. So that makes him almost entirely impossible to kill. But because of Entropic Aura, that cancels out healing, so I'm going to charge him with the Death Knell. Boop! Do probably not much damage, but he's definitely within 5 inches, and also this troll over here is within 5 inches. You probably can't see him, but there's a storm troll over there. And then I can activate my Skin and Moans, and he's fully juiced up from the Death Knell, so he goes up to power and strength 19, which is respectable. And then he goes in, and he does his pile of damage or whatever, and then all that damage is not going to benefit from Doomy's Feet because of Entropic Aura. And then if I want to, I can activate the Cage Ranger and either try to finish the Mountain King if he's in range, or try to kill the Storm Troll, also ignoring Doomy's Feet because he's within 5 inches of the Death Knell. So that's Entropic Aura. It definitely has a lot of benefits. Like I could have, if it wasn't Doomy's Feet, I could have used it just to deny Tufts on the Fen Blades, which is situationally can be important. I think that's about it for the corpse collections and stuff like that. It's important to note you do also get corpses off of your destroyed models. So say this guy fails to kill the Mountain King but takes it down to a bunch of damage. Also important that if the Death Knell's here, the Mountain King can't heal. So if any aspects were lost during the Skin and Moans' attacks, Doomy can't heal it, he can't be forced, he can't eat whelps to heal himself, that sort of thing. So the troll player has to find a way to destroy an armor 20 Death Knell with 22 boxes prior to activating the Mountain King. So it can cause some order of activation issues and that type of thing. And I think that's pretty much everything for the Death Knell. A lot of lists that you're going to make when you're playing Grimkin, and by no means am I the most experienced Grimkin player on the planet, but if you're playing Bump, which is kind of the infantry theme, it's not always necessary to have Death Knell. It's kind of only if you're having like the piggies, what are they called? Shit, I can't remember any of these crazy names that they have. But the piggy guys that have impervious flesh and like to be in shield wall and stuff like that, so if you're stacking armor, you probably want to have a Death Knell, and that's going to require you to get corpses. Generally with Bump in the Night, your opponent is going to be killing some dudes of yours so you can get corpse tokens, but if you're playing against a very smart player and it's important to him that he doesn't want to give you that armor bonus, he might try to kill models outside of the collection range, which is only 8 inches, so it's not, if you're playing Bump, you tend to have models that are fairly spread out. Like I said, you can use the Madcaps and some Pumpkinhead guys to get your own corpse tokens if need be. And if you're playing a Menagerie, it starts with a corpse token, so there's not as much of a necessity to try to find ways to get your own corpse tokens. And I've played Menagerie a number of times without an infantry unit. Some people like to throw in a min unit of Dreadrots and kind of run them forward so that your opponent just like kills them and you get a pile of corpse tokens for that. I found that it's not really super necessary because you're going to have a bunch of Krabbits and they're generally going to die early on and give you the corpse tokens that you need. So that's the Death Knell. It's a really cool model. It's relatively cheap, but like I said, it's almost exclusively a support piece. So enjoy.